Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to talk about are two different brands that are sort of in the same, I guess you could say sort of same market, where I guess would be one way of putting it. Rather than looking at the same market, which would not be inaccurate, I'd like to say is sort of different interpretations of some similar elements in luxury watches. Now, the first one is Glashütte Original. It's a German company that sort of came into being, taking over what had been a watch company under the old, when there was East Germany, before the reunification of Germany. And then it emerged out of that. Later on, it was bought by the Swatch organization, so it's part of a big conglomerate. Now, the other one is Girard-Perregaux, and Girard-Perregaux is a very, very old Swiss company, and it's owned by the Kering Group. The Kering Group is the French companies like I guess like Swatch or like Richeville or one of the other sort of groups. They also own Ulysse Nardin and some other ones. Okay, so in looking at these two companies, I thought, well, it'll be sort of interesting to see the differences and so forth. They all have, both of them have their own movements, and both have a similar sort of price set, but there are some differences. Okay, the first one I want to talk about, this is the 60s panorama date and the 1966 by Girard-Perregaux. They even have similar names. The 60s panorama date and also the 1966. Both of these, you can find some very, very good prices for these watches on the secondary market, new ones. So this is something, so I put the price down for a couple of these. So I don't have it for all of them, but these are really good watches to shop for, I'll put it that way. 60s panorama date. I tend to like that better for two reasons. One, I like the fonts a lot, and second of all, I like the big date. Uses two discs. You can sort of see it there. The other, the 1966 by Girard-Perregaux is a very formal watch, and if you like something a little more formal, a little more subtle, I think this would be one you'd like. Now, both of them, the MSRP is $8,000, but like I said, on the secondary market, you can save a couple $1,000 on either one of them, and then on the used market, even more. Now, this next set of watches are two, one rectangular and one sort of square on it. The 70s panorama date, 40 millimeters. And this is the 70s is for the 1970s. And the price on this one is $8,700. They have some different ones too, including a chronograph model of this watch. And sort of a good everyday kind of watch. The vintage 1944 is called the XX Large, which is why it's called the XX Large, I'm not sure. It's 36 by 35. That's not XX Large. I mean, you have one that would be something, 36 long and 35 wide. It's just not XX Large, but I guess they thought it was. So maybe it was from a much smaller watch. This one has a moon phase and a hand date. I really like this watch, and a nice big date right under the 12. Now it's more expensive. It's $13,400, but and both of these are stainless steel. By the way, too, as much as possible, I'm just looking at the stainless steel ones, and the reason for that is that gold and platinum, it just got so out of hand that you're not paying for the watch, you're paying for all the gold and platinum that they put in there. Now, this next two are sort of diver type watches. One One's called the CQ Panorama Date by Glashütte. It's 12,400, and the Laureato 42 millimeter, 12,200. Again, they're very close in prices, and they have different looks to them. I think that the SQ Panorama Date with the movable bezel has much more of a diver look to it. But I like it because it's got the big date down at 4 o'clock and between 4 and 5 o'clock. The Girard-Perregaux, the Laureato 42 millimeter, has the hobnailed guilloche on the dial, which gives it a little more formal but not too formal look to it. Both could be great everyday watches, I think. I mean, for for an office watch or the kind of thing you could wear to a lot of different occasions, if you like, that kind of style. There's the Girard-Perregaux has that octagon, I guess, bezel, really, that doesn't move or anything else around it. All right, now for chronographs, there are different kinds of chronographs that they have. Glashütte Original, the 70s that we looked at model, does have it also includes a chronograph, and this one's called the Panomatic Counter XL. It's $21,100. It's a more expensive version, and the counter is that you have a second counter over at 9 o'clock in red, and then you have the big date at 3 o'clock, which is sort of, I'm not sure why they did it that way, but you have you can see the pushers on the left side for starting, stopping, and resetting the counter on the left. The rest of them, there's a typical amount of chronograph information because it's also a chronograph. Sort of an interesting watch if you like a lot of gizmos on your watch. Now, the Girard-Perregaux is significantly less, 14,100, and it's called the Laureato Absolute Passion. And it looks more like a rough and tumble kind of a chronograph that you could take out in different places and get messed up, get it dirty, and do a lot of stuff with that one. I like both of them for totally different reasons. The Panomatic Counter XL would be a kind of thing if I were an engineer and worked with engineers. For some reason, I think that would be the kind of watch I'd want to have. The other one looks like much more of an outdoorsy kind of watch where you'd want to have a chronograph. So you have it's about a $7,000 difference between those two watches, and so depending what you want, they have different sort of styles on that too. Now these last two, one of the things, two of my favorite watches from Glashütte Original and from Girard-Perregaux, they don't make anymore. They go back. The Glashütte Original has one called the Senator Curie, and they have a lot of the Curies are chronographs. So if you're into chronographs, you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want a cool watch. I think the Glashütte Original Curie is a neat choice. It's just a cool watch. Same thing with the Girard-Perregaux Richeville. It's a watch that I've always liked, and there's something about it, and it just sort of the style. This particular one, they have them very plain looking, like this particular Curie. This, by the way, too, the Curie is one of the plainer ones too. If you look at a lot of these on the used market, you'll find them with a lot of gizmos on them. And likewise with the Girard-Perregaux, you'll find them the plain ones as well. And chronographs. This one I like. It's got a power reserve indicator, and then it's got this an outer inner bezel that moves, and it's got all kinds of stuff on it that make it an interesting watch. Both of these. So I mean, it's something that if you're looking for something less expensive in either one of these, I think both of these have very interesting, no longer made versions of them. And they're both, these particular two are about 5,000, but you can find them a good deal lower than that if you look around. Well, anyway, I'd like to hear your opinion on these, on the Glashütte Original and the Girard-Perregaux. I don't have either one of them, so I don't have a dog in this fight. I do have some watches. This particular watch has a Girard-Perregaux movement in it, which is not unusual. This is a Harry Winston by retrograde, and the main movement is the Girard-Perregaux, and then the retrograde is by Aguinar. Okay, like to hear your opinion, what you think, and any ideas or other information you might have. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.